Hey, good morning. For me, it's morning, but some of y'all might watch this at night or in the afternoon or whenever y'all get a chance to watch the video. Um, this video, first of all, I want to welcome everyone into the new year. It's the 5th of January, and 2023, new year. And so I wanted to start off by saying Happy New Year to everyone. And those that are new to the channel, thanks for watching. Um, and of course, you know the protocol. So I'm not gonna go through all that. So I want to keep it really, really simple. Um, by saying, I want to start by saying why do I the purpose of my channel. When I first made my channel, of course, I had about 30 something videos, and then YouTube went into this big old, adults versus children watching video and so forth, and how agencies were going to get involved and shut your channel down, and so I ended up deleting those videos, and I should have never deleted them because that was some of the videos was why a lot of my people that had subscribed in the beginning watched. Like I was doing some keyboard teaching videos. I started off on the real truth about the music industry. This is probably about 5-6 years ago. The real truth about the music industry and how it really works and so forth. And it just led over to gear and recording, and it seemed like more people that start watching the channel were more interested in me talking about gear and recording and so forth than it was about the industry or how to play. It was only probably a few people that wanted to learn how to play. There was probably a few people that was really interested in the music industry side, but most people were interested in the recording side. So I kind of gravitated toward that. I myself started technically in the 80s on a 4-track, but I didn't really get into the bigger studios until the 90s. Now I had to do this also and balance my military career as well because I was in the Army as well. But that's a whole different video. On people think that if you're in the Army, you're in the Army 24 hours a day, and that's a lie. So, but the same thing if you're in the Marine Corps, the Navy, or whatever. Now the Navy, you can be if you out if you're you can be on a ship and be out to sea. Well, you got no place to go, so you're actually on that ship 24 hours a day until they dock somewhere. So you'll be on that ship but that's a different video on military. Um, so the purpose of my video is I've been studying gear for a long time. I've been studying recording studios for a long time. I've been doing recording for a long time. I know this business, the career field, the whole ins and out of it because this is all I study. This is my number one dream. Even though I'm a mechanic, I make money doing auto mechanic work and things like that, and I'm certified as a mechanic because I've been doing that for 30 plus years as well. But that's a different video. The skill sets I did in the Army, one was intelligence, one was avionics, and electronics and stuff like that. So that's why I talk about electronics. That's why knowing electronics helps in this field as well. So the purpose of the video and the purpose of the reason I'm making this video start off for the new year is people want me to start doing. People are requesting that I start doing live chats again, so they can ask questions and I can answer those questions. Which I'm going to start that back. I think that was a good thing, but sometimes it'd be a live chat and only 6 people will be on there, even though they ask me 30 different questions, which is fine. I have no problem answering any of those questions. But I was hoping to get a lot more viewer interaction. And I don't know if it's because maybe when I went live that the other people that probably weren't aware that I was live, or some people, that maybe it was a different country or a different time zone or whatever the case, or maybe people are at work, whatever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start announcing when I'm gonna go live, so that way you can know when to tune in. So that's probably gonna be what I'm gonna start doing for 2023 is to go live again. Lastly, on why I made this, why my channel exists, is when I talk about gear, when I talk about equipment and gear, this is a no-brainer that, of course, everyone wants the top of the line, name ubiquitous gear that everyone dreams about. You know, when you go to these high-end, top-end commercial facilities, you see it you'll see a Neve console or an API console or Trident console, whatever. You're gonna see all the outboard gear with all the mic pre's, you know, Neve preamps and API preamps and GML EQs, and you're gonna see all the, you know, 1176s and LA2A compressors and whatever else gear, drama, you know, compressors and Summit, you know, audio and just all the, you know, Shadow Hills and Manley and, you know, Tube Tech, and it just, the list goes on and on and on about all the gear you see in outboard gear. Then you start seeing all these high-end microphones, you know, U47s, 67s, 87s, 281s, and C800s and so forth. And you see the control rooms, and you see the live rooms, and the acoustic paneling, and I mean, it's commercial high-end facilities are like that for a reason. You know, you're gonna get top-notch product, especially if you're recording bands and orchestras, live band, analog, you know, where it's dealing with, you know, miking a set of drums, and instead of just 2 or 3 mics, they actually, a high-end professional recording can have as many as 15 microphones going through 15 different preamps. And they might not even be using always the console's preamps. Sometimes they have a lot of outboard preamps. One of the most preferred preamps on drums, as an example, would be API preamps. Some people like the Neve sound, especially on recording acoustic instruments or bass guitars or whatever. And vocals, you know, use Neve or whatever. So it just depends. Of course, we all rave and rap, you know, because that's what we see. And we know that's what we've heard. When you know, when records are recorded and mixed and so forth, you know, and you see this Fairchild 670 or 660 compressor, whatever, you of course, you know, or Neve 33609 or the SSL bus compressor, whatever, you of course, but 99% of almost everyone that wants to do this in their home, because you can't, there's a whole different video on home recording versus commercial. The only downside to a commercial facility is cost. The building, equipment, maintenance, and staff. The cost is significant. So why they charge so much? Because you're getting high-end facility, staff, gear, engineers. You're getting the whole shebang. But the problem is you're restricted to time. They only can let you stay in there for so much time. And you're being charged by the hour because it's extremely costly. But the results are what you've heard of, millions of records. This is the reason why artists had to go get record deals with advances. Because most artists most like all of us, we all come from pretty much really barely any type of money incomes. You know, your family, your father, mother, whatever, you just dream that, you know, you got all this talent, you're an artist, you're a guitar player, singer, piano player, musician, or whatever. Most of us come from poor, low income backgrounds. We do. Most extremely rich people are so, you know, most of them that really don't, you know, go into the music industry. Most of them either run the family business, corporations, you know, whatever. Most rich people are business people, not celebrities. So to end the video, Those are all the dream factors, and so 90% of us cannot afford that. We just can't. You got them some people that actually have really good money that can afford an API and need preamps and they have nothing but name brand top line gear in their home recording studio. But that is like the 1%ers. So people like myself who don't have that kind of money, naturally, of course I do have a couple of high-end pieces because I got good deals on them. But majority of the stuff I either got on a great deal, or it's clones, or it's the lower price gear. It looks like I got a lot of gear, but a lot of it's affordable, a lot of it's used. And it took me years. It took me years to get to where I'm at now. And yeah, if I had $1 million, of course, I would have an API or Neve console with Universal Audio 1176s and LA 2As and all that. Of course I would have all that, but that's unrealistic. This is the reason why I'm so adamant about why I made the channel when I really start talking about the gear, and thank God for clone companies and plugins. Because plugin companies and clone companies know that most people can't afford that either. So they that's the reason why Warm Audio created his stuff in the first place. Even though people always got something to talk about, it's always the critics. There's always people out there gonna, it's like, naturally, the best way to explain it is, there are people out there that are going to ridicule people with low price gear, even though the people that ridicule you with low price gear don't have it themselves, or they may have a few high end pieces of gear, and now they want to rag on. They got 5 really expensive pieces of outboard gear, but they want to rag on. If this guy has 300 pieces of Behringer gear, they're gonna dog him. I got 5 of the best. You got 330 of the cheapest. And I'm gonna submit a project. Now this is not gonna be released, but I'm gonna submit a project that was done on a Behringer console. It was done on a Focusrite twin track preamp and some Lisa's 3630 compressors, a DBX, a BB Sonics maximizer, and just the gear that I have downstairs. It's mixed through Behringer speakers and all that. And you tell me, does it sound like, when I submit the video, you tell me, because this is the next video I'm going to make. You tell me, does this sound like a Behringer gear, or does it sound like it came out of a high-end facility? And I think you're going to be shocked to realize it came out of my house, sounding like a high-end facility. That's the reason why I make my videos. My object is to show people how to make your stuff sound like a high-end facility, doing it in a bedroom. Because there are a lot of videos out there that will show you and tell you that you can do this in a home, but they're not telling you every single thing that, I don't know if I don't know if they're purposely leaving that information out, or they just don't realize they're leaving that information out. But there's so many different talking points to recording on this. So I'm also going to start off with a 2023 tour, because I did get some more pieces, and I'm probably 95%, because I got more cables, more stuff to hook up. I got to get more cables and more. That's another video talking about the stuff that you really need, depending on what you're trying to do. And my goal is to try to get my home recording studio. I'm trying to get it like a commercial studio without, if I had more space to build, and I could build an actual control room and live room, that would be ideal. But that's because of what I do as far as music. Now, the end on this note, do you need to have what I have and have a live room and control room? Not it just depends on what you want to do. If you don't want it, if you're just into EDM, maybe some hip hop, maybe you're into dubstep or trap music or whatever, you can do everything perfectly with just an MPC, like my MPC studio, even though they got newer ones. You can do everything with an MPC, audio interface, some KRK monitors, a couple of $100 microphones and so forth. Like, you can do very well with that, and plugins. DAW plugins. But if you're trying to do more analog acoustic recording and you're trying to make your stuff sound like a big, gigantic commercial facility that you heard on, depends on your genre of music, and you're trying to do all this big production stuff like a Whitney Houston type of production, that I Have Nothing or I Want to Run to You type of sounds, yeah, the gear that you see in my room is, you got to go that level if you want that sound. Other than that, that's gonna do it for this video because I gotta get ready because I'm working again. Yeah, that's how you think I'm paying for some of this stuff. I gotta work. My retirement isn't enough. My retirement keeps my lights and keep me in the house and all that, and all that. But I still need, if I want to have gear and do more stuff that I need to do, I gotta work. And when I wasn't working, I was, working on people's car, getting money here and there. It's like, how you think I got that Avalon preamp? Because I had to work. So, other than that, that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. And that's going to do it. So, but that's just the reason why I made my video. Oh yeah, before I end on this note, it's kind of like Lindell Audio making 1176 clones now, which I got two of their 1176 compressor replicas. So I have the Clark Technic. I also got the Clark Technic K2As, but I've upgraded to the the opto amp in it, and that's gonna be a different video on modifying. I made a video on that before, but even if you change your tubes can help a little bit. There is the reason why I was saying with clones and plugins, and I'll say this to death. Thank God for clones and plugins, because with clones and plugins, you can pretty much get the same sound because they got pretty much the same circuits. It's not the name of the gear that's getting you the sound that gear is doing. It's the circuits of the gear that's getting you the sound, not the name. But there are people that are stuck on the name because it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. The best way to describe it is 300 horsepower in a car is 300 horsepower in a car. What's affecting the way a car performance is the driver, the weight of the car, the physics, and the road conditions, the weather, and everything else. It doesn't matter if it's a V6 that makes 300 horsepower, or a V8 that makes 300 horsepower, or a four-cylinder that makes 300 horsepower. 300 horsepower is 300 horsepower. The difference would be torque, weight, distance, road conditions, driving conditions, and everything else that can counter if that 300 horsepower is useful to make that car go how you want that car to go. 300 horsepower doesn't care how much what we call force times distance and all that. We get into physics and Newton's equations and all that. That's pointless. Same thing with electronics. A transformer is a transformer. It doesn't care what box is in. If it's a Jensen transformer, it doesn't care if it's in a Neve, API, or a Behringer shell. Transformer is going to do what a transformer is going to do. The circuits have nothing to do with the shell. But the people are stuck on the shell because that's what they see. They don't understand it's the circuits that you're hearing, not the name. But there are people out there stuck on the name. Well, it's an SSL, or Neve or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a Neve or SSL. In other words, it's like my Warm Audio Tone Beast. The Warm Audio Tone Beast is actually an improvement of the API circuit, but it's an API circuit. But they've done a few extra things to it to really give it some color and warmth and all that. That's why it is a beast of a preamp. Now, I got one, I'm going to be getting another one. It's the same thing with those Outrons. Those Outrons have input and output transformer. It's basically a Neve circuit. So you're getting Neve sound. But it don't have Neve on the shell. It doesn't have to say Neve to get the sound, as long as you got the circuit. That's a different video. So with that being said, I'm going to fix me some breakfast, and I'm going to end the video. And I can't stress that enough about get people away from name. That's probably gonna be another. That's gonna basically solidify my reason why when I play this track, how it was done through a Behringer console and all that. You know, people think it's like with my Behringer mixing console. They think, oh, it's a Behringer. They don't understand. Behringer used high-end op amps in it. That's why it sounds better than people give it credit. At that time, and I had to go through, and I study this stuff. I look at most people don't even bother to look at the back go back and get the magazine of a piece of gear and go to the back and read the specs to see if the specs will it be sufficient. So like I said before, most of the time when it comes to Behringer gear, and this I'm just going on and on. I got to end the video. I'll end on this note. Most of the time when people dog Behringer, they get stuck on the name, not realizing that wasn't really the issue with Behringer gear. It wasn't the name that was the problem with Behringer gear. Was their quality. They would have faulty quality in some of the stuff they were doing. You know, they would make a good circuit board, but they would cut corners on like knobs and all that, become scratchy, or failing switches or whatever. Because a lot of that stuff was cheap Chinese components before he became a big gigantic major corporation and bought Midas and TC Electronics and all these other companies, Clark Technique and everything else. When he bought all these companies, he able to get better circuits. That's why Behringer gear is better today than it was 30 years ago. That's the reason why. But that's gonna wrap the video. Thanks for watching. And I hope everyone start off with a good happy new year. And like I said, I'm gonna stress a little bit about gear, but I'm gonna move into music careers, and I'm gonna end the year with the music industry, because that's the whole point of reason why people are doing this. People are trying to do this to get. Some people do it for personal reasons and hobbies, but most people are trying to learn how to do this stuff on their own so they can elevate their career. And most people are probably stagnant. Why it ain't working? Why am I on Reverb Nation and SoundCloud and I'm not going anywhere? That's a different video too. So there'll be a ton of stuff I'm gonna talk about this year, so they help people out, because I had a little bit of success with this different time frame. So thanks for watching, and y'all have a great one.